wish that I could just wish away my feelings, but I can't.
Sand hurts my feelings.
I don't like sand,
Hurts my
sand.
feelings.
Haunted by fake sand in my very soul. Sand. Are you suffering as much as I am?
Sand hurts my feelings.
Tormenting me. I'm in agony.
Sand hurts my feelings.
I don't like sand.
Hello, and welcome to The Sand Hurts My Feelings, a Star Wars podcast from a Swiftie point of view. I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm your other host, Sarah. And today we are going to be talking about Padmé Amidala and the connections we see between her and Taylor Swift's album, Red, Taylor's version.
Indeed. How are we feeling today, Sarah?
I am doing good. Spring is here. I love this time of
Oh, that's a big fat lie. This is fake spring.
Yeah, we live in the north, so we get like the false spring and then there's like a second winter and things. But I like this time of year for the celebrations. I love St. Patrick's Day. I love the first day of spring, the actual celebration and the light that we have. I'm a big baseball fan, so I am looking forward to the baseball opener.
Opener just happened, or is about to happen, yeah.
Yeah. So I am doing good and taking my news content in little chunks.
So you're not going to tell everybody how you responded when we finally got our first signed Taylor Swift memorabilia?
I was going to save that for you.
But you were the one who reacted in the most kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah. We had a very, very good Facebook Marketplace purchase from someone local here, and we got a signed, framed copy of Folklore, and then we got like the Reputation VIP box, and like I kind of lost it for the rest of the afternoon. Like it was pretty amazing.
And I think we thrifted it pretty nicely too. We actually felt like we were taking advantage of the guy a little bit.
Yeah, but we paid the price that he asked for. So like don't feel like we haggled and like don't think bad of us listeners.
Oh, no. It was absolutely. But that actually, and that's kind of funny because that's actually not the first Taylor Swift memorabilia we got. We got, again, things happen in quickly and all together. A week or two before that, we actually got a signed TTPD CD. And you did not react as happy. You were still happy about it. But it was for some reason that, I think it was more probably the Reputation box that you were just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think it was that. Yeah, I think.
We also got an awesome Taylor Swift LED sign.
Yeah.
That looks really cool.
Yeah, you can change the colors to fit your moods. And so, I mean, it's just like her name and then there's LED backing behind it. So it's a fairly simple sign, but I think it's really cool.
But we'll post pictures of Blue Sky.
Yeah. So yeah, we are upping the Taylor Swift content. We are in our future house dream plan scenarios. We have like a whole Taylor Swift wall. And so we are healthily filling that out, getting the stuff. Once we have that, because it's not if, it's when. It's when we have that beautiful Taylor Swift wall. We will definitely share that, but that will not be for a while.
Correct.
So that's how I am. How are you, Alex?
Andor's coming.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Andor. We're in the middle of our rewatch, and we are less than a month away from Andor's return. I'm not as excited, I would say, about the celebration, Star Wars Celebration, as I thought I might be.
It's fair.
Like, I think I'll be excited once it happens, but I'm just like, I'm not building up to it. Also, we're not going, so that makes me a little sad. Because we wanted to go, but being in Japan and with us making the decision to do some other things, it's just not in the cards. And I'm still very jealous of Sarah, who has actually been to a Star Wars Celebration. I have not yet. So that is my own kind of thing.
Right. We're hoping to go next time it's stateside, because I was going to say next time it's stateside, because when they did it in Anaheim, it was still like very pandemic-y, and we're like, we're not going to go. Then they did it in London, and then they did it in Japan. And so it's like, it's got to be stateside, and I think we're less pandemic-y. I mean, they're still
There's still a lot going on, but
Yeah.
I think there's other. It wasn't. We were just coming out like 2021 or whatever.
Yeah, it was like 2021 or 2022.
Or 22. Yeah, like we were just coming out of a pandemic, and we were just like, we're not as comfortable going to that yet.
I was gonna say also
Yeah.
in 2022 we were saving and planning for our
For a wedding, yes.
so that was not great timing that way.
Yeah.
So now that we're happily married,
No, it was 21 because 22
Was it
we
21?
decided, yes, because 22 we decided to go, we wanted to go to London, and then we're like, nope, we're not going to London, we're going to Disney World instead.
yeah, because it's cheaper to go to
It's cheaper
Disney
to go to
World
Disney World
to
for
go
a
to
week.
London for celebration.
For a week
Yeah.
than it was to go to Celebration.
No, I
That's
do
what we
remember
chose
that
to
now.
do.
Yeah,
And then
that was fun.
That was our pre-wedding honeymoon, I guess. Or
Yeah,
whatever, yeah.
yeah.
Because then we went to Ireland the next year. So yeah, it's great. Benefits of having a sugar mama, everybody.
As our friends say, we're dinks. Dual income, no kids. Dink.
That was loud. I also got a new phone. That's really interesting. Like, I finally broke down and actually spent money on a phone, and I feel very bad about it because it's like, you shouldn't spend money on a phone, and I did. And so I'm like, it's an amazing phone. I really like it. I bought it secondhand because that's who I am. But yeah, I actually have like an actual phone that can play games and can do things versus
Yeah.
a Moto G1
That was
that I
very
bought
outdated.
in 21.
Yeah.
So it had not been updated, and literally apps were saying they cannot run on my phone anymore.
Well, I was going to say, isn't it nice to not have to delete some apps in order to use other apps?
Oh, I have. Yeah, you're right. I have space.
Yeah.
That's that. Oh man, that's a concept. 'Cause,
Yeah, you don't
now
have to
I
delete
actually-
apps like right after you use them.
Right. That was a big thing that I did to save space on my phone because apps didn't ever like to be downloaded onto my SD card because I had a card to try to make my space bigger. But again, I'm a cheapskate. So, all right, let's jump in.
Actual content.
Actual content
Star
on
Wars
our
and
Star
Taylor
Wars,
Swift.
but this is just getting to know us. And
Yeah.
So let's start with we've just finished talking about the original trilogy
in our
and our
experiences
experiences
with those.
with those. So now I think it is time for us to talk about the prequel trilogy. I'm not excited about this one. Sarah's giggling, but it's not for the reason she thinks I'm not excited about it for a certain reason. That's not actually the reason. But I'm going to let her go first because she got to have an experience with them later on in life versus I actually did see it in theaters.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let her go first because she got to see all of it.
Yes. So my first experience with The Phantom Menace was actually my first Star Wars experience. When I sat down after Episode 3 had been released onto DVD, so they were all out and available for me to rent at my local movie rental place when they still existed, I decided that I wanted to sit down and watch them, but I was going to do it in the episodic order and not the release order because I was so worried that if I watched it out in the release order, so the original trilogy and then the prequels, that I wouldn't understand what was happening. I was just so worried about that because the people in my circles weren't super big Star Wars fans, and they talked about how certain Star Trek things didn't make sense and how science fiction can I don't know. They kind of scared me off of it. So I started with episode 1 and watched 1 through 6. And so you can come at me, but that's just how it happened. And you were going to say something?
We're deleting that. Don't
All
of the don't designate whatever your experience in Star Wars. I guess we're not deleting it because I'm now we're having a serious chat. But I'm like, whatever your experience in Star Wars is what is good.
Yeah.
You love Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's what we are here. Is we're a positive experience podcast. There is no coming at you. You experienced it how George wants you to experience it.
Yeah, that's fair. I did.
There is I have my beefs with George, but you still loved Star Wars,
I
so
do.
that's
With
fantastic.
Phantom Menace being my first
with the
entry.
first movie, it didn't scare you off.
It didn't,
That's
no.
a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, that'll it's the worst ever, and it'll scare you off, and it didn't. So no, there's no apologies here. There's no coming at you. It's whatever you experience.
Thank you for the validation.
We do positivity here, everybody.
Yes, we are a Star Wars positive, everyone is welcome fandom podcast. So anyway, Phantom Menace.
Except you chodes who are racist and misogynistic. Sorry, I'm not going to accept them.
All right, yes. That goes without saying, but needs to be said.
Needs to be said in
No.
these day and age.
No, yeah, okay. Anyway, back to my Phantom Menace experience. I fell in love with Star Wars pretty instantaneously. I loved Padme. I loved Obi-Wan. I had a particular connection with Qui-Gon Jinn. He is, in a lot of ways, still my favorite Jedi, and I identified with him and really, really liked him from the beginning.
What did you like about him?
I liked that he believed in himself and believed in the Force and trusted his gut and didn't cave to the council, because that's one of the pieces that Obi-Wan's like, oh, if you just followed the council, you'd be able to do this, and the council's like, you can't train Anakin because of this, and he's just like, no, this is what it is, and we do this because it is right.
I think that's a unique take, because I think a lot of people coming in, and so this is the benefit of watching the Star Wars movies with Episode 1 as your first, of you don't know what's coming. Or you kind of know what's coming because it's been in the zeitgeist.
Right, I knew Luke and Vader were related. And
but you don't know what's coming. And so you know that, so this is an honest reaction to, okay, the Jedi are not the best, or they're doing something wrong or something. And you're like, Qui-Gon, you're being smart. Because I feel like when I came in, granted, I'd seen a lot of things. Also, I was a very young child and stuff like that. So coming in and being at an age where I could analyze it, I was like, all right, Qui-Gon, you're here because you have to be here. We have to have somebody who says oh, Anakin should be the Jedi and he should be cool. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, I love me some Qui-Gon, but I'm like, the fact that he's still your favorite and he gets one movie. To me, that's pretty important and pretty cool that has stuck with you. So that's just why I bring it up of you get one movie and you're like, I really connected with this guy. And I'm like, that's the first experience of a Jedi that you really got.
Yeah, because a lot of people, their first experience is Obi-Wan, Alec Guinness's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I can definitely see having that similar connection. I will say my connection with Qui-Gon was aided because at this time, the summer that I watched all the Star Wars, I took every single online quiz I could find as to which Star Wars character you are, and pretty consistently got Qui-Gon Jinn for myself.
There you go.
So there is that too, but I really have appreciated the additional materials and understanding we've gotten around Qui-Gon with his appearances in some of the books, particularly Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. It validated everything that I had felt and seen and connected with in Qui-Gon in just The Phantom Menace. So I really liked that. I really loved the power of a young teenage queen. I was roughly that same age at that time. And I was just I had the feeling that I could do anything because I saw this young woman, roughly my age, taking on big issues. And it's I can do anything. And that's very empowering. And I still take inspiration from Padme in some of those ways, even to this day.
So was this a college or high school? I keep forgetting.
I watched Phantom Menace for the first time when I was in junior high.
Junior high. So you are literally...
Yeah, I was
literally
roughly
Padme's age.
14, 15 years old,
that's
Padme.
amazing. Okay.
Yeah, and so that's why...
That's awesome.
It was so empowering. It's just my voice, I felt like my voice matters, what I have to say matters, and that I can go on and do anything that I want to do. And that's an incredible experience wherever you get it.
Right, because Padme keeps getting told she's wrong, but in the movies, it turns out she's right.
Right.
That's the difference of because you get there are lots of female characters out there at this time and whenever, still to this day of they get told they're wrong, and you're like, yep, they're wrong, or oh, they're not wrong, but it's kind of just that's part of the movie. Versus this one where she's like, hey, help me. and they're like, nope, you're wrong. And then she goes and fights for herself.
Right, and ends up being right. And I loved and really admired the bravery because I is somewhat, I'm an introverted person. I am someone who, especially when I was in middle school, was very shy. And to have her be like, I am willing to like fight and die for this was just like, I kind of aspire to be that. I don't want to die for something, but to like have such strong convictions that you're willing to put yourself out on the line for it was very inspiring to me.
I mean, it's nobody ever wants to die, but it's the kind of thing of like, I think we are of that mentality of like, we will fight for our beliefs.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what she's putting forward. And
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
again, not to mansplain, totally don't mean to be doing that of like, but that kind of, like we all want to have such convictions that we can connect of like, this is what I will fight for.
Yeah.
And I will fight for those. Because again, Padme, a lot of the Phantom Menace relates to kind of where we're at right now of like, Padme could have just stayed on Coruscant. Like she could have just, yep, my people are dying. Like, but I'm going to stay here and we're going to try to work it out. But she's like, nope, I'm going to go back and I'm going to fight for my people because my fate of my people is my fate.
Yeah.
It's that kind of, she has privilege, but she's using that privilege to help others. Yeah. And that's what we both aspire to be. But like, it's amazing that she gave you that in that moment.
No, I thank you for, I don't think you were necessarily mansplaining in that, but like that's how I feel. And so between having that strong connection with Qui-Gon, having that strong connection with Padme, the Phantom Menace does mean a lot to me. And, growing up, I do see certain flaws. I can understand and appreciate other people's critiques of it, but it's always going to have a very special place in my heart.
Awesome. Because anybody can like any Star Wars. That's our big thing. Like, I'm pretty certain that both of us can say our least favorite Star Wars is Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
But if you like Rise of Skywalker, we want to we go for it. Like that's the thing. Like, we're not those stupid chodes who are like, I didn't like it, so it's terrible. Like, maybe we think it's bad, but there are a lot of people that really enjoyed it. And
it's the same. It's kind of the vice versa because we loved Last Jedi, and a lot of
people hate that. So it's like there's a lot of it's just enjoy what you enjoy. Like That's the problem. That's the thing with Star Wars is it should be for everyone, and if you don't need to like everything. Everything's not for you.
Right. Remember, it's all fake and in space.
True.
So, Alex, you had seen the original trilogy before watching The Phantom Menace, but how was watching your first time watching through The Phantom Menace? Did you see that in theaters?
I did see it in theaters. So I've never told you this before.
Okay.
So this is hot on the presses, and I know we're actually going. This is going to be a longer episode because we've been talking for a while, and I will say, as a 9-year-old boy, I enjoyed it a lot.
Great.
But granted, there were definitely long portions of it that I found really boring. Mm-hmm. But due to the release of the DVDs and stuff like that, like I distinctly remember watching like the final battle multiple times.
Oh, the Duel of the Fates.
The Duel of the Fates and like the whole battle of like the Duel of the Fates, the Naboo battle and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's what I watched. Mm-hmm. And then like, again, I've never told Sarah this, like me and my friends would literally like jump around the basement to the end credits.
That's so cute.
And because the end credits are the music is just so cool. Mm-hmm. And it would be like, oh my gosh, we're fighting, and stuff like that. We would run around the basement just like, yeah, and like distinctly remember those things. And I know we're talking about the first experiences, but I'm gonna move forward with this because as the movies came out, I turned against Phantom Menace. And I will fully acknowledge that I am not part of the fandom menace. I was never a part of the fandom menace of like attacking anyone.
Mhm.
I do want to put that forward, but I was very much on the sense of like the prequels are bad.
Sure. Okay.
And
As they continue
continued to come out and as I aged.
Okay, sure.
I think
Became
that
a
was the bigger
teenager
like
and-
became a teenager and like college and stuff like that. And as I aged, I'm like, these are bad. Like, because you have to look at, because as a kid, I looked at like the lightsaber battles and I'm
Mhm.
like, this is cool. Like, yeah, cool, awesome. And then after that, I was just like, this is, once I looked at it as a whole movie, I'm just like, this is really boring. Because that's not what, because I didn't really watch, unlike the previous movies, I never really watched the whole movie. It was, I watched the end battle with the friends of like, let's put on the end battle and the music. So I was of the firm believer that The Phantom Menace was the worst Star Wars movie ever made for a very, very long time.
I remember having that conversation.
I am ashamed at how long I felt that it was the worst movie ever created by Star Wars until I met Sarah. And Sarah had me watch it again and had me watch it multiple times. And I continue to watch it. And I have now developed an appreciation for it. I still don't like it.
That's fair.
I still don't think it's great. But I do absolutely think it is the best prequel movie, hands down, like, and well and above. But that was like part of our first conversation as a dating couple. Like our first date, we talked about like The Last Jedi
Mhm.
and another topic. And then, but then we also like, what do you think about the prequels? But as I was, I do want, as I was saying, of like, I was very, I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I was very respectful of your, because you were like, I like the prequels. And I was like, really? Let's have a conversation about that. And then we had a back and forth conversation.
Mhm.
And then Sarah was like, yep, this is it. I'm like, she's like, I like the prequels. I'm like, I don't. And we're like, do we still want to continue dating?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I think with Star Wars is like, most people are like, you can't coexist if you don't like, there's a prequels, there's a sequels, and there's a original trilogy. And like, there's a 3 different camp. And I'm like, you can't coexist. I'm like, yes, you absolutely can.
Right. Well, I think it helped that we watched them together because it had been varying lengths of time since you had last seen the prequels versus when I had last seen the prequels. And so it's like, let's sit down, watch them together and like chat about it. And don't get me wrong, we teased each other playfully and, you know, as flirting young dating couples do about it. But like, it's your willingness to sit down and give it another try.
Well, yeah. And like your willingness to like stand up to my BS. Cause like there's absolutely times where I was like, this is dumb. And you're like, it's not. It's actually really cool. And I identify with Padme. Cause I'm like, totally not to like in my blind spots. Totally I see blind spots of like Padme's a dumb character. And like as an older style, like I felt Padme was a dumb character because I saw her ending.
Mhm.
And not being able to identify of like she's actually really strong in Phantom Menace.
Yeah, George
like that
did
is
her dirty.
that is why she is like that is why I really like Phantom Menace a lot more now.
Mhm.
Is looking at of like she's actually really strong there.
Yeah.
And it is until she's okay, but she gets taken down a peg in Clone Wars in Attack of the Clones,
Mhm.
and then she is done absolutely dirty in Revenge of the Sith. But again, stupid teenage boy is like, there's so much action in Revenge of the Sith, so it's of course the best, when in actuality it is the worst.
Yeah.
Like it. So that's my opinion, and I apologize if I offended anybody, but I'm just like, no. So, wow, that was a long conversation. Now
was
let's actually
good.
start talking about Taylor and Padme.
Yeah.
We did turn it back around of like, so I do enjoy that of like, I'm demonstrating, I guess, my growth of like, I can look at a situation and be like, this doesn't make sense. I don't like this. But then look at it now and be like, Padmé is amazing. And one of the reasons why I break the fourth wall in this season, teasing later of like, things.
Yeah, she deserved
things-
better.
She deserves so much better.
Yeah, she deserved better.
So I've been talking a lot. I want you to start with your pick for. We're now shifting into Taylor
And our picks
for Red.
for Padmé. Yeah, I'm happy to share my pick first. So my pick for Padmé Amidala from Red, Taylor's version, is sad, beautiful, tragic. For me, it's really hard not to pick this song because I feel these 3 words completely describe the whole Anidala relationship. So it's a very short song in terms of not having very many lyrics. So we'll kind of go through those here. So we had a beautiful, magic love there. What a sad, beautiful, tragic love affair. I mean, they loved each other so much and it ended in tragedy. Like, I don't know what more you can say to that. In dreams, I meet you in warm conversation. We both wake in lonely beds in different cities, and time is taking its sweet time erasing you. So to me, this is Padmé like dreaming of Anakin, but waking up alone because they spend so much time apart from each other because they can't tell anybody that they're married. And so even when both Padmé and Anakin are on Coruscant together, they can't physically be together at certain times. I know they do sneak around, but like Padmé is off doing her senator things and Anakin is off doing his Jedi things, and there's a lot of time they spend apart. So yeah, that's like there's times where they do spend time together, but there's also times where for long stretches of time that they're apart. So then we kind of get a little foreshadowy here, or speaking more to the end of the relationship. You've got your demons, and darling, they all look like me. So speaking to how the memory of Padmé haunts Anakin later on. And then we hit the bridge. Distance, timing breakdown, fighting silence, the train runs off its tracks. Kiss me, try to fix it. Could you just listen? Hang up, give up. For the life of us, we can't get back. So Anakin, specifically in Revenge of the Sith, keeps shutting Padmé out, and she keeps trying to get in. They are separated by their positions as Jedi and Senator, which enables Anakin to continue on in his silence and distancing from Padmé, and that contributes to their eventual breakdown and the tragedy of their love affair.
Excellent. Very, very well described and everything. Fantastic.
Thank you. What did you pick from Red Taylor's version?
So I know we talked a little bit about the prequels and how much I dislike them, or dislike them at a point. I will especially say I have a distaste for Attack of the Clones, but I want to say I'm very proud of myself.
Did you pick an Attack of the Clones moment?
I did.
Ooh.
I did pick an Attack of the Clones moment. So my song for Padmé is Everything Has Changed.
Oh.
And this is when Padmé and Anakin meet at the beginning of Attack of the Clones.
Oh my goodness.
So this especially works because in the lyrics she says, "'Cause all I know is we said hello, and your eyes look like coming home. All I know is a simple name, and everything has changed." And this is Padmé realizing everything between her and Anakin has changed at their first meeting in the Attack of the Clones. She hides it well, but reveals later that she has not been able to stop thinking about him. Because that's the thing of like when you watch it and the first time, you're like, it seems not like it's all Anakin. But she says later, of like, the moment you stepped back in my life, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you.
I've been dying a little bit every day.
I did it every day since you came back into my life. No, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And then to continue with her lyrics is, all I know is you held the door. You'll be mine and I'll be yours. All I know since yesterday is everything has changed. So again, their whole life trajectory has changed. And because she keeps trying to fight it.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout the whole Attack of the Clones movie, she's fighting it of like, I won't let you give up your life for me. Admits in the fireside room, which I do not like. The room, not what I'm about to say, but of like that whole scene. She admits she won't let him give up his life for her, but basically admitting that she loves him. And then continuing on, and all my walls stood tall, painted blue, but I'll take 'em down, and open up the door for you. And all I feel is my stomach is butterflies, the beautiful kind, making up for lost time, fighting, making me feel like. So again,
Mm-hmm.
this is, granted, it's the Ed Sheeran version part, but like he's
Sheeran?
Ed Sheeran? What did I say?
You said Shireen?
Shireen. Okay, cool. Ed Sheeran, his version, but it is, again, it's a great showing of both, like, because both of their lives have changed once they met, and she will break down those walls because she has a lot of walls, like as she talks about, even when they're talking and he gets mad when she's talking about her first relationship because he literally, like, that's a weird conversation that we have in Attack of the Clones.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, yeah, like, he became a painter and I continued in politics and that's just the way it went. And he's just like, yeah, I get the picture. Oh yeah, he's attractive. Oh, got it. And I'm like,
then don't ask the question.
Right. It's that, but it's like she's lowering those walls. And, like, again, pieces of it are problematic, especially when he's like, hey, I believe in dictatorship. And then she's just like, you're making fun of me. And he's like, ha, ha, ha. And I'm like, he's not making fun of you. This is what he actually believes. So, like, that's some, like, it's not the best there, but, like, but that's also pieces of, like, she's lowering those walls. She's not being as distinctive of, like, nope, all right, you, like, because she gets mad-ish when he's like, this is what we do. Like, this is diplomacy. But then kind of, like, comes back to, like, oh, you're making fun of me. Like, this isn't real. Like, this isn't what you actually believe. You're just making fun of me.
Yeah, you're being the devil's advocate.
You're being a devil's advocate. You're joking. And I'm like, he plays the scene really well of, like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Ha, 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 ha. When that's not what he's doing because that's what he actually believes.
Yeah.
And so it's, again, that kind of thing of, like, everything has changed once he has come back into her life. So that was my pick. You are really good at picking vault tracks.
No, Sad Beautiful Tragic isn't a vault track.
Maybe it's not, but I will say you are really good at it, just in general. And I think you have been. I think I lost for a second that I thought it was a vault track, but I will say you are really good at picking vault tracks.
They just speak.
They just speak to you. So
no, but I'm pleasantly surprised by this pick that you have of Everything Has Changed. I wasn't where I thought you were going to go with it, and it's really cute. So I'm pleasantly surprised.
Where did you think I was going to go?
Angst, anger. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know. It's just
sure. It's just not where you thought. Sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm glad I can still surprise you.
Me too. So, I like to take BuzzFeed quizzes for funsies.
I do. I'm excited to tear this one apart.
So I took from Padmé's perspective the BuzzFeed quiz, which underrated Taylor Swift song are you? I don't have the justification, but the song, I didn't write that down when I took it, but the song that I got for Padmé is Better Man. And I feel it fits.
Oh, that fits so hard. You don't even have to explain. Like, okay. No, that fits so hard.
I mean, I think it fits for her, like, political career of, like, she wishes people were better. Like,
oh, disagree.
But I think,
disagree.
but it's so Anakin because it's like she wants to love him, but she can't.
All Anakin.
Yeah.
No, that to me, like, that
That's a great
Oh,
pick.
like that's a fantastic pick. And that's the kind of thing that I wish we had in Revenge of the Sith,
Mm-hmm.
as I will talk about later in the season, of like, that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, Padme should be standing up to Anakin.
Versus
Like,
dying.
versus just like, oh, he's still good. I love him. I'm like, he's not. He's not
gone.
good. He's like, well, he's not gone, but he's turning. And I'm like,
Mhm.
she needs to stand up.
Mhm.
And I feel for all the people that are like, she led the delegation of 1,000.
Or the delegation of the 2,000.
2,000, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But like, she didn't though.
It's on
Like,
the deleted.
it's on the deleted scene, so it does not exist.
In
I
theory,
do not, I wish it did. And so fully acknowledging everybody of like, I wish that like, but because it isn't on the deleted room floor, like it doesn't count. Like people are like, oh yeah, she still had such a powerful, I'm like, she did. And I hate that for her.
Yeah, George
like,
erased everything.
It was erased. Like you can't, like, cool, we saw the deleted scenes, they don't exist.
Well, it's the same thing with Attack of the Clones, because you've got scenes where Padme tries to go in and do negotiations with the Geonosians, and that got put on the cutting room floor, and they did reshoots.
Oh, I don't remember those.
Yeah, they did reshoots, and it was basically like Obi-Wan or Dooku having the same conversation and conveying the same information, but they had filmed it where Padme was getting all of this.
Oh, that's so dumb.
Stuff. Yeah. No, so okay. George did that. George made that choice.
Right. So, yeah. There's lots of feelings that I have. I'm not going to speak for Sarah. I have a lot of feelings on George. You all know this. And so, yeah, there's just, oh man.
And
anyway,
we save that for another podcast?
It is going to be saved for another podcast because I have another podcast that will be coming eventually. It is not for a while, so do not look for it. But I will be diving into George on a whole nother podcast. Oh man, it's going to be a doozy. But anyway.
If you'd like to stay in touch with us here on The Sand Hurts My Feelings, we have a Blue Sky and Redbubble at Sandy Feelings. We are also on Instagram and Threads at The Sand Hurts My Feelings Pod. We have a Facebook page, The Sand Hurts My Feelings Podcast. And if you'd like a good old-fashioned email, we are thesandhurtsmyfeelingspod@gmail.com.
I do also want to shout out Kalia. We have yet to share her picks because she actually has some picks for some of these. Mm-hmm. So we will be doing that in our next episode to catch us up. She has been responding with us and letting us know her picks. So we will, in our next episode, apologies now, Kalia, that we have not gotten to you yet, but we will do a mailbag and get you caught up.
Yes. So we'll do a mailbag episode with our next, where we look at Padme and 1989 Taylor's version.
Awesome. And we are so excited to talk about that. May the Force be with you.
Forever and always.
May the Force be with you.
Forever and always.